Hi everybody, it's Huang Pham here, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about my compositional workflow. Firstly, this is a discussion of composition from the point of view of somebody like me who has spent most of their life playing music that belongs to other people, and I've also had no formal training at university, specifically in composition. So how do I get started on a new piece? Is it random or is it planned? It's a common assumption in the audience that composing somehow comes to you in a feverish dream and that you wake up from this and suddenly you can get your ideas down on paper and there you have a masterpiece. This may be true, but definitely for me this is not the case. And composing for me can be a very frustrating and at times very arduous process. In order for me to get started, I always have to have the form of the piece firmly down in my mind. In practical terms, this means that I have to have a set of rules for which I will follow for the most part. So the form of a piece dictates the way that the piece is going to be structured. So what comes first, what comes second, what gets repeated, what is the general direction of the music. Now, I'm aware that there are possibilities to compose without any rules at all, and I'm in total admiration of composers who can and prefer to do that. But for me, I need rules because without them, I wouldn't know where to start with my ideas. So there's a wonderful quote by Stravinsky where he asserts that he's more creative when he has more rules placed upon him. So what do I actually do when I compose a new piece of music? I always have my notebook by my side. This is just a manuscript book, and in this book there appears all of my ideas for my various compositions. These can be melodic fragments, harmonic progressions, all sorts of bits and pieces relating to possibilities of composition of the new work. When it comes to writing down the music, I like to do this at the piano and using my computer because I believe that using the software to notate, I can get my ideas down more quickly, efficiently, and most importantly, really accurately. Of course, there are composers out there who prefer to do it with pen and paper, and once again, I have absolute admiration for those people. But for me, using technology to help me get my ideas down quickly and accurately is really important. In terms of the composing workflow, once I have the structure of the piece down, which I almost always have before I start notating, the compositional process from this point on is pretty continuous and for me happens from beginning to end. I don't tend to jump around and cut and paste. By the way, if you're curious as to what compositional software I use a program called MuseScore, and I use this program for a couple of reasons. At the time of this recording anyway, this program is free, so that's definitely an advantage. But also I find it very sufficient for my needs. And perhaps most critically, it's a very intuitive program to learn and use. And I find that the learning curve is not so steep, so you can really jump in and start composing immediately. So what happens once I've completed a composition? I'm usually the first performer, and very often I'm the only performer. Totally okay with that remaining to be the case. So once a piece is completed, I prepare it for performance just the same way that I would prepare any other piece, say a Beethoven sonata or a piece by Chopin. So I still have to put in the many hours of practice, refining the details of performance and also memorizing the work. Since these are my own compositions, I tend to revise them in the process of preparing them for performance. These changes that I make are always cosmetic changes. They're never things such as changing a fugue to a sonata, but more like adding a bass line or changing the harmony just a little bit. Maybe I want a different harmony here to represent my idea more clearly. So these are examples of the sort of surface changes that I might make to the music, but certainly it's never structural. It's amazing that once you've finished the composition and performed it a few times, your view of the music changes quite drastically from when you first composed the piece. And this is a fascinating thing because I really believe that once a composer has finished composing the piece, he or she has finished the job, and then it really is up to the performer to continue the journey of the music. Anyway, I hope this video has given you some insight into my compositional methods and workflow. I know it's been very general, but if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're interested in hearing me perform my next new work, please come to my concert on Saturday the 24th of April, 3 p.m. at the Melbourne Recital Centre.